Hello everyone, this is Professor Jiang Tinghui from Fengjiang University in Taiwan. Now I'm going to share two-person mutual action recognition by deep learning. The author's information is shown below. This is the outline of the presentation. In previous research, there are seldom research focused on mutual action recognition. So in this paper, we try to propose a mutual action recognition model to recognize mutual actions. The mutual action is produced by two persons, such like kicking, walking to work, or hugging, shaking hands. The mutual action recognition can also be applied to some applications, such as surveillance or human-computer interactions. And here are some examples of mutual actions that can be divided into instant action and long-term actions. The instant actions have kick, punch, push, hug, or shake hand, exchange object. And in long-term actions have walk to walk apart. The most difference between them are the period of time of actions. So to recognize mutual actions, the most important information is joint relationship between two persons. In previous work 1, the author construct the all skeleton relationship over time to recognize actions. It can be used to recognize 1 to 2 person actions. And the author is adopt each person's 12 skeleton point to construct 276 pair as each time step for action recognition. But the author only consider distance relationship that's length of capturing vectors relationship. And in previous work 2, the author proposed a single person action recognition that can be divided that is divide body into 5 parts and apply RN to each part, then combine them to the whole body. But it is hard to capture the relationship between different parts of the body, like kicking or touch toe. Therefore, in this paper, we propose an AI-based mutual action recognition model that will construct a intra and inter-skeleton relationship based on the vector matrix. And we also apply excitation CNN to extract spatial feature, then use LSTM to analyze temporal region of the interactive actions. So our model can be divided into 3 main processes. The step 1 is skeleton relationship construction. Step 2, spatial feature extraction from skeleton. Step 3, temporal feature extraction and prediction. The architecture of our model. Now I'm going to show you the step 1, skeleton relationship construction. In our paper, there's a main idea. We try to use the intra-skeleton relationship that belong to the same person. And we also use the inter-skeleton relationship between the 2 persons to recognize the mutual action. Like the previous work 1, the author is only use the Euclidean distance to determine the action recognition to recognize the actions. But the Euclidean distance cannot reveal the direction of the actions. Like this example, when person A doing rising up hand and person B doing putting down hand, the information from the Euclidean distance is showing the same. But if we use the vector information, we can tell the difference between the 2 actions. So in our paper, we will add the vector information to construct the skeleton relationship. So To construct the intra-scatter relationship, we will use a intra-Euclidean distance matrix and vector matrix over skeleton that belong to the same person. So we will construct the intra-EDMs and VNs that can be denoted as EDN of P1 and VNX of P1 and etc. And for another person to construct the intra-Euclidean distance matrix and vector matrix is doing the same as previous one. And to construct after we construct the intra-skeleton relationship, we will construct the inter-Euclidean distance matrix and the vector matrix that can be denoted as EDN of P1, P2, and the VNX of P1, P2, and etc. Finally, we can use the intra and inter EDN, VNX, VNY, VNE to reveal skeleton relationship between two persons. And we are going to step 2, spatial feature extraction. After we get the skeleton relationship, now we are going to use the convolution neural network to extract the spatial information. The convolution neural network can be used to process image signals that also can reduce the calculations and extract the spatial features. We will stack the EDMs and VNs, then apply the CNN to extract the spatial feature from the static EDN and VNS. And for improve the feature extraction performance, we adopt the exception CNN that can scan the relationship among all dimensions at once, because it's with different size of kernel, so the model can learn inter and intra relationship from small to large scale. Because the exception CNN that has 1-by-1 CNN that can extract point-to-point relationship, and also have 2-by-1 CNN that can extract subpartial body information, and 3-by-1 CNN can extract partial body relationship. After we extract the spatial feature, now we are going to extract the temporal feature and predict mutual actions. To extract the temporal feature, we use the long short-term memory, which is called the LSTM. The LSTM is good at sequence data classification problem, so it can help us to determine the different types of actions, such as walking toward or walking apart, and kicking or pushing. So finally, we can use the LSTM to determine the mutual actions. In experiment to evaluate our proposed model, we adopted 3 different data sets to evaluate our performance. First one is SBU dataset that has 8 classes and 282 videos, and each person has 15 joints. The second dataset is NTU plus D. It has 11 classes, and each person has 25 joints. And the third dataset is NTU plus D 120. It has 26 classes, and each person has 25 joints. And above datasets have 3 cameras from different views to record the data. And the performance of our model on the SBU dataset is outperform than the others' work. And the experiment result on the NTU RGB plus D dataset, our model is outperform than other works too. is both on cross-subject and cross-view. On the other hand, the NTU RGB plus D120 dataset, in this test, our model is also outperformed than other works, both on cross-subject and cross-depth. Finally, we also showing the confusion matrix of cross-subject and cross-depth. You can find out beside the hit with object and white knife, the other items is performs very well. Only the hit with object and white knife is performs poor, because the behavior of these mutual actions is very similar. The only difference is the object. So if we can add RGB information into the neural network, it may can improve the identification of these actions. Finally, I will give some conclusion of our paper. Our paper, the contribution of our paper can be summarized as following: a new way to represent human interaction in 3D skeleton data as sequence of EDMs and VNS. And inception serial network can help us to extract the feature from small to large scale relationship. And we also separate intra and inter skeleton relationship to help the neural network to understand the intra and interperson behaviors. Thank you for your listening.